What's up, guys? We are back with Week 10 NFL Sunday action. Let's dive in and break down all of these games and find the value out there in an action-packed Sunday. If you want to win all of your bets this weekend, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, college football, NBA, NCAA basketball, NHL, and the UFC. This is one of the best times of the year to be in the mix with so many sports going on. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. If you're interested in peer-to-peer sports betting where you can make your favorite bets against real people and pay only 1% juice, click the link in the description to check out Bet Openly, the best peer-to-peer betting site on the web. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the New York Giants taking on the Carolina Panthers in the early game that is happening in Germany. The Giants come into this game only 2-7 on the season, so not having the best time. They lost last week in a fairly competitive game against the Washington Commanders, so I guess we'll give them a little bit of credit there, but losing 4 in a row does not feel great. The Giants honestly had a little bit of hope for this season. They were hoping that, Danny Dimes could maybe make something of a comeback, look like, a franchise quarterback, the way they're paying him to look, and that just has not been the case. Although, last week against Washington, as per usual when facing the Commanders, he had a pretty good game, passing for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked a couple of times, but he did complete 20 of 26 passes. So honestly, a pretty good day out there for Daniel Jones. The running game looked fine as well. A lot of that power there by Daniel Jones, his 7 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown. But even, with the running game totaling 164 yards on 31 carries and that touchdown, not enough to get them over the top, guys. Neighbors had a decent day, catching 9 of 11 targets, but only for 59 yards. Theo Johnson had had a receiving touchdown there and 51 yards of his own. Just a tough day. Daniel Jones did fumble it away once, so that's a costly mistake, and that was their only turnover, but can't be making mistakes like that against a decent or good team like the Washington Commanders. So, a bit of a rough look there for the Giants. On offense, putting up only 22 points is obviously not amazing. In terms of their defense, they allowed 27 points. They did an okay job of containing the Washington passing game at least, but Jaden Daniels still had 2 passing touchdowns in the game and 209 yards through the air. He was sacked 0 times, which is definitely a concern. The running game there for Washington looked good, 150 yards on 38 carries there. Daniels only 35 yards on the ground himself, but overall a pretty good day out there for a Washington offense that just continues to be very, very solid. And on that's just not a whole lot you can do there if you're the Giants defense. They haven't been a great defensive team this season. They generated 0 turnovers in the game and 0 sacks. So pretty concerning stuff there for the Giants, who are actually 15th in the NFL in points against. They're dead last in points per game, though, scoring only 15.4 points per game. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road, very much on the road here, to take on the Carolina Panthers, who are on the road also, guys. They are 2-7 on the year. They've been one of the worst teams in the NFL this season, but they are coming off a win, guys, a 23-22 win, a 1-point win there over their division rival New Orleans Saints. So pretty crazy stuff there for in that game. Carolina coming away with the win. Bryce Young, not a great game, guys. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked once, only completed 16 of 26 passes. He didn't look good in the running game either. Chuba Hubbard had a good game running the ball, guys. 15 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns there for him on the ground. So some good things there. Sanders had a good day catching the ball. In general, Carolina took pretty good care of the ball, only turning it over once. So definitely some solid stuff there for a Panthers team that has not had very many positives this season. On defense, they did pretty well against Derek Carr, but they got destroyed by the New Orleans running game, guys. Kamara put up 155 yards on 29 carries. The running defense here of this Panthers team is definitely a big, big question mark for me for this game. So we'll see what they can do. The Panthers didn't generate a single turnover in the game. They only had 1 sack. This has been a very bad defense, guys. No doubt about that. They're last in the NFL, giving up 32.6 points per game. So no positives to report there. In In terms of the injury reports for this game, the Giants come into this one looking a little bit banged up. Darius Slayton going to be out for this game, and they could have one guy missing there from the secondary, but other than that, not a bad injury report for the Giants. The Panthers come into this game, guys. They are going to be missing at least one offensive lineman, and Jadeveon Clowney could be missing there on the defensive side, but this has been such a bad defense, I don't think that really makes that big of a difference. They're going to be terrible defensively. So looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we see the Panthers are getting 6.5 points here. We've got an over-under of only 40.5. A little bit embarrassing that this is the game the NFL is sending to Germany, but hey, I guess maybe you don't want to send the good teams. I don't know, but this is going to be not the most fun football game to watch, I wouldn't think. The Giants are 3-6 against the spread. They are 6-3 to the under. Carolina 2-7 against the spread, and they are 7-2 to the over this season. The big trend here in international games, guys, is you just want to be taking the favorites, and taking the Giants here to win by a touchdown seems a little bit sketchy, but that's what we're going to do, guys. I think the Giants -6.5 is the play in this one. Obviously playing on a neutral field in Germany, I think they'll figure out a way to win. They should be able to run the ball very, very easily. I could even see a big game here from Daniel Jones as he, tries to keep himself in his starting role and tries to justify a little bit of that contract. So definitely giving the Giants here at -6.5. It's a borderline lock here as, the favorite on, one of these international games. In terms of that over-under of 40.5, that is such a small number, and these international games can get a little bit weird. So I'm going to be angling a bit towards the over since neither defense is very good, but the play in this game is definitely to take the Giants here -6.5. Next on the docket, guys, we've got another very mediocre game. This one's happening in America, at least. We've got the New England Patriots going on the road to take on the Chicago Bears. The Patriots come into this game 2-7 on the season, so that's a little bit disappointing. Although this is a team that came into the year with zero expectations, they took the 20-17 loss at Tennessee last week in a game they honestly kind of had their chances in. I mean, this was a big gut check game there for Drake May. He did some fantastic things out there. The dude looks like a gamer. He was doing what he could. He was picked off twice in the game. He was sacked 4 times, so that's not great, but he completed 29 of 41 passes for 206 yards. It feels like they really don't need to be having him throw the ball, or shouldn't want to be having him throw the ball that many times, but what are you going to do? Nobody could run the ball very well for New England except for Drake May. He had 95 yards on 8 carries, so great stuff there. Really like what I'm seeing from him. Maybe the Patriots have found their quarterback of the future. Obviously, a lot of time still for him to improve and stuff like that. The passing game, obviously, no receivers really going nuts out there, and really Drake May, the only guy that could do anything positive, although he did turn the ball over a combined 3 times, and he was sacked 4 times. So, the Patriots, obviously not a great offense, and not that amazing on the defensive side either. They gave up 240 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns to Mason Rudolph. They did generate 1 interception in the game, so that 1 turnover is nice, but they couldn't stop the run, guys. Tony Pollard put up 128 rushing yards on 28 carries against them. So, not a great day for the Patriots defense that hasn't really been amazing. They also struggled to stop Calvin Ridley there. He had 73 receiving yards on only 5 receptions. So, just not a great day there. This isn't an amazing kind of defense. So we'll see how things go here for the Patriots as they go on the road to take on the Chicago Bears, who are 4-4 on the season, coming off back-to-back losses now. That, heartbreaker of a loss at Washington there on that Hail Mary. And then last week they just got absolutely worked by the Arizona Cardinals, losing that game 29-9. So a lot of problems cropping up here for the Chicago Bears. There was a lot of hope early in the season, but with Kalen completing only 22 of 41 passes, that can't feel great last week. And it's not like the Cardinals are a very good defense either. He was sacked 6 times. The dude just can't get rid of the ball. We didn't see anything amazing there from the running game either. Swift, 16 carries, only 51 yards. Normally that looks a little bit better. Rome Odunze did have a big game, caught 5 of 7 targets for 104 yards himself, but just not a good day out there for the Chicago Bears. They didn't turn the ball over in the game. They still lost by 20 points. So I can't feel too great right now about the Chicago Bears in terms of their defense, giving up 29 points. That doesn't look great. They got destroyed by the running game. They did do a decent job of holding down Kyler Murray in the passing attack, but they did sack him 3 times, so we'll give them some credit there, but they could not stop the run, giving up 213 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns in the game. So just not a whole lot of positives to report for the Bears in this one. Seems like this is a a team not headed in the right direction after that, debacle there, losing on that Hail Mary. And yeah, we've got all kinds of weird stuff happening. Yeah, dudes walking off the field mid-play and just all kinds of bad vibes there in Chicago. So looking at the trends for this game, New England 3-5-1 against the spread. They are 5-4 to the over. Chicago 4-3-1 against the spread. They are 5-3 to the under. The Bears are -6.5 in this game. We've got an over-under of only 38.5. So a very low scoring game, guys. It's still at 6.5 here. At anything over 6 or higher, we are definitely taking the New England Patriots and the points in this spot. The Bears seem like they're falling apart. Seems like that, that whole debacle against Washington really has messed them up. Also, neither one of these teams are particularly well coached, but I really hate the Bears coaching situation. So give me the Patriots in the points in this game. And in terms of the over/under, I'd be leaning just slightly here towards the under, but it's not an over/under spot that I'm in love with. Two terrible teams, though. Betting the under doesn't seem like the worst idea. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Buffalo Bills. They're going on the road here to take on the Indianapolis Colts. The Bills come into this game 7-2 on the season, fresh off of a very close 30-27 win there over the Miami Dolphins. The Bills have now won 4 in a row, albeit not against the toughest competition, but gotta give them credit out there for taking care of business. Obviously, a very close game, like I was just saying, against Miami, guys, but they found a way. They found a way to hold on, and they played well in the fourth quarter, although they did lose the fourth quarter 14-10, but we saw good stuff there from Josh Allen. He is really having a great season, guys. 3 passing touchdowns, 1 interception in the game, but he did complete 25 of 39 passes for 235 yards and was only sacked that one time. He didn't do too much in terms of running the ball, guys. Only 2 attempts for 7 yards there, but he's definitely somebody that is capable of doing that when the situation calls for it. So we'll see if that happens in this one, but against the Dolphins, we saw the Bills not really do a great job running the ball, which is a bit concerning. Definitely would be great if they could take a little bit of pressure off of Josh Allen there with a decent running game, but that didn't really happen. We saw Ray Davis have a good day, catching both of his targets for 70 yards and a touchdown, so that's another positive, guys. Really liking what we're seeing from the Bills offense right now. On defense, they had a rough time there against Tua. They let him complete 25 of 28 passes for 2 touchdowns and 231 yards. They only had 1 sack against him. A-Chain eventually, did get loose in that game. 12 carries for 63 yards for him. Mostert, also a good game. Definitely some questions there for the Bills in terms of their defense, guys, and they haven't necessarily been an amazing defensive team over the course of the season, really. I mean, giving up, 19.2 points per game looks good, but they've faced a pretty easy schedule. Like, their toughest opponent, definitely the Ravens, but what's their second toughest opponent? Like, maybe Houston, and they lost both of those games. So it seems like the Bills are a team that's going to, beat up on the bad teams, but we'll see if that's really what happens here going up against the Colts, who come into this one fresh off of back-to-back losses. They lost at Houston by 3, then they lost at the Minnesota Vikings last week 21-13 in their first game, putting Joe Flacco back under center, and the reports are that's who we're going to see under center in this game once again, guys. And Flacco wasn't great last week against the Vikings, albeit, the very good Vikings team. 16 of 27, 179 yards there. He was picked off once. He was sacked 3 times. So yeah, not a great day. Not a great day at all. In terms of the running game, Jonathan Taylor didn't really get going that well. 13 carries for 48 yards isn't a horrendous day, but it just wasn't going well enough that they were able to commit to the running game, which is what this team needs to do if they're going to win games. So we'll see if they're able to do that this week, guys. Looking at the injury reports here, we see the Bills are kind of banged up. Amari Cooper questionable for this game. Keon Coleman going to be out for sure. Just not going to be a full-strength wide receiver group there for the Bills, which has kind of just been the situation this season. And on defense, they're looking okay. Braylon Spector, he could be out there in the linebacker group, but other than that, a relatively good bill of health there for the Bills. In terms of the Colts injury report, guys, Michael Pittman Jr. going to be out for this game, so that's not great. But other than that, they're looking pretty healthy out there across the board. So looking at the numbers for this one, see the Colts are getting 4 points here. We've got an over/under of 46.5. The Bills, they're 5-4 against the spread this season. They are also 5-4 to the over. The Colts are 7-2 against the spread and 6-3 this year to the under. Guys, I think we have to take the Colts and the points here at home. The Colts run blocking is absolutely elite, and they should have a great time here against the Bills. I think you might want to look at the over in this one as well. I think we could see a good amount of offense, but I definitely think, the Colts and the points is where you want to be. I think we'll see a bounce back game from Joe Flacco here, a week to kind of settle in back into the starting role, and I think we're going to see the Colts here, keep this game very, very competitive. So yeah, the Colts +4 has a great chance to end up in the pinned comment. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, UFC, and NCAA basketball, which is just starting up and has been one of our most profitable sports over the years. We make things extremely easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new, and also if you want to experience peer-to-peer sports betting while paying almost zero juice, click the link in the description to sign up at betopenly.com. Now guys, back to the games. Next on the docket guys, we're looking at the Denver Broncos going on the road to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos come into this game guys, they are 5-4 on the season, so nothing too amazing, but nothing too terrible there for a Broncos team that's supposed to be, pretty much in rebuilding mode. Last week, they took probably their worst loss of the season, or at least their worst loss here in the second half of the season, albeit against one of the best teams in the NFL. They lost 41-10 there at the Baltimore Ravens. We didn't see amazing stuff out there really from the Broncos offense in general, but yeah, Bo Nix kept going out there. He's a gamer, got sacked 4 times, picked off once, but he was still out there trying to make plays with his legs. Any way that he could, he was trying to make it happen. So he's a young guy. He's going to make some mistakes. Making mistakes against that Baltimore defense wasn't necessarily something I saw coming, but overall, guys, just not a great day for the Broncos. Their running game did put up pretty good numbers, though, so got to give them credit there. The defense is what really let us down, guys. They had no answers out there for the Lamar Jackson-Derrick Henry combo, but hey, not very many teams have had answers for that this season. So we'll see how they look, see if they can bounce back in this one. Obviously, they're going to be going up against an AFC West opponent here, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are still somehow undefeated on the season after that crazy win last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. So we'll see what they can do in this one, see what kind of magic Mahomes can conjure up. We did notice, there on Monday Night Football, he was dealing with a hurt ankle, so he might be a little bit sore out there for this one. We'll have to see. He was great, though, against the Buccaneers, guys. 3 passing touchdowns, nearly 300 yards through the air. 34 of 44 there. He was sacked 4 times. So that's a little bit concerning. Kareem Hunt had a big game running the ball. This Chiefs team can definitely run the ball. Travis Kelce was targeted 16 times in the game, guys. Ended up with 100 receiving yards there and 14 receptions. DeAndre Hopkins had a huge game. That's been a great development there for the Chiefs. Something that was a bit concerning was the Chiefs defense. They were not able to really do too much to slow down Baker Mayfield, even though he only had 1 real wide receiver out there. And it's not even a wide receiver. It's actually a tight end there in Cade Otton. So we'll see if he can keep things going the way he's been keeping things. If Mahomes can keep things going the way he has been, they're going to need the defense to be a little bit better out there, although they're taking on a much worse offense in the Denver Broncos. So looking at the injury reports here, guys, the Denver offense is fully healthy for this game, so that's got to feel good, and we're not missing any starters there on defense either, so things looking very healthy there for the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs, they're still going to be missing Juju Smith-Schuster. That's not a huge shock, and the Chiefs defense is relatively healthy as well. So let's hop over, look at the numbers, and look at some trends. We've got the Chiefs here. They're minus 7.5. We've got an over-under of 41.5. Guys, Denver, they're 6-3 against the spread. They're 6-3 to the over. Kansas City, 5-3 against the spread. They're 4-4 to the over/under. Guys, this is a little bit of an interesting spot. I do have a premium play on this game over at Stump the Spread, so we're just going to look at the over/under here. I think we want to be looking at over 41.5. I don't think we're going to see a crazy amount of offense, but it doesn't take a crazy amount of offense to get over this very small number. So is this a spot that I like enough to put in the pinned comment? Probably not, but I do like the side on this game good enough to put it in the premium picks over there at Stump the Spread. So definitely might want to head over there and check those out. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Atlanta Falcons. They're going on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Falcons come into this game 6-3 on the season, fresh off of a 27-21 win there over the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of a weirdly close game given, what was going on for Dallas there. I mean, with Dak going down and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a good game there from Kirk Cousins, no doubt. He was, 19 of 24, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked a couple of times, but that's against a Dallas defense that A, isn't at full strength, and B, just isn't very good this year. So yeah, we'll see if he can replicate that. Robinson and Algier both looked decent running the ball, so Atlanta had a balanced attack there, and just, good stuff up and down. Darnell Mooney had a good game, 5 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown for him. The Falcons did fumble the ball away once, so they did have that 1 turnover, but on defense, guys, they looked okay. I'm not going to say they looked elite. They struggled against the combo of Dak and Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush looked okay when he came in. The Falcons sacked him 0 times, so I guess they were just concentrating on coverage or just couldn't get to him, but the Falcons couldn't really stop the Dallas rushing game when they were doing that. I mean, Dallas came up with 137 yards on 21 rushing attempts, so so nothing horrible there. And yeah, just not an amazing day in my opinion for the Falcons defense. They generated 0 turnovers, and this ended up being a 1-score game there at the end. So things could have kind of gone either way. So definitely a little bit concerning for the Falcons last week. Despite Kirk Cousins having a great game, this is a pretty close one. We see Drake London questionable for this game, so that's a big concern, guys. I mean, if he plays or doesn't play, definitely makes a difference here. It sounds like it's a good chance he'll end up playing in this game with his hip issue, but one hit there the wrong way on a hip and you could be out for the rest of the game. The defense is looking relatively healthy, so that's a positive. So we'll see what they can do here taking on the Saints, in a big NFC South showdown. The Saints only 2-7 on the season. They fired their head coach, so yeah, we have the dead cat bounce here in effect for the New Orleans Saints. They lost last week 23-22 against the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, you cannot be losing to the Panthers and expect to keep your job here as an NFL head coach. In that loss, guys, it was pretty bleak for the Saints. I mean, obviously, Olave going out in, very scary fashion. It sounds like he's going to be okay, but it also sounds like he is not going to be playing in this game. No big shock there. Derek Carr, 18 of 31, 236 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked once, so yeah, I don't know, just not a great game from Carr. Kamara went bonkers, guys. 155 yards on 29 carries for him. He also caught 6 passes for 60 yards. He led the team in both rushing yards and receiving yards. That is a tall task. It's rough to ask somebody to do that all the time, but hey, maybe he's up to it. He is a monster out there. On defense, they did a good job of limiting Bryce Young. They did have an interception. They struggled a little bit against the run, but yeah, just kind of crazy. The offense they just couldn't win. They just could not win there against the Carolina Panthers. And it's not like the Saints defense has been amazing this season. They also just traded away their best corner, so that's not a great look. They're 25th in the NFL, giving up 25.4 points per game. So guys, looking at the numbers for this one, the Saints are getting 3.5 points at home. We've got an over-under of 46.5. Is Atlanta being overvalued due to being lucky to win a bunch of their games that were all very close? Cousins is only 16-28 indoors. Drake London is banged up, although it looks like he's going to play. The Saints, obviously, like I said, fired their head coach. Maybe it's time for the dead cat bounce. Olave not going to be playing, and yeah, doesn't seem like there's a lot of faith here for the Saints, but I've got a little bit of faith, guys. I mean, Atlanta, they're 5-4 against the spread. They're 5-4 to the under. New Orleans, 3-6 against the spread. They are 6-3 to the over. Guys, this might feel sketchy, but I like the Saints here at plus 3.5. I think this is a good time to sell on this Falcons team that's been getting really, really lucky. They're going on the road to play in a hostile environment. I don't think we're going to see a great game there from the Atlanta Falcons. I do worry a little bit about the Saints, but this could be a bounce back spot for Carr. I like the possibility of Kamara having another big game, and 3.5 points here. I mean, a divisional game, and you've got the home team getting points. Seems like a good spot to me. So give me the Saints in this one. And in terms of that over under of 46.5, I'm probably going to be leaning just a hair towards the over. I think these teams are going to find a way to put up some points, but the over under, not my favorite play on this one. Jumping in with our first ever sportsbook ad, guys, and I am super excited to tell you about Bet Openly. They are unlike any regular sportsbook out there. Their whole goal is to facilitate peer-to-peer betting, so instead of them having a vested interest in you winning or losing your bet, they just want to match you up with a real person who wants the opposite side. At Bet Openly, you will be paying drastically reduced juice on your bets, close to 1% instead of the 10% you would pay at any of the big guys. Not having to fight that built-in house edge sounds pretty great to me. Bet Openly supports all your favorite bets, including props and parlays, and get this, guys, you can even be the house on parlays, meaning you only need a single leg to win to cash your bet. Most importantly, Bet Openly will never limit your account for being a consistent winner, which is something that happens all the time on the bigger sites. If you're interested in signing up, click the referral link in the description of this video and let's cash some bets. Now, guys, back to the games. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the San Francisco 49ers. They're going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 49ers, 4-4 on the season. They're fresh off of a 30-24 win there over the Dallas Cowboys, and they're also fresh off of their bye week, so they've had some time to get healthy, and the great news, the big news is Christian McCaffrey is going to be back here for the 49ers. So obviously that is a huge, huge deal for a team that has struggled in the red zone. Against Dallas, they looked okay, guys. Obviously putting up 30 points has to feel pretty nice. Brock Purdy had a good game, sacked twice, no interceptions, 260 passing yards. The running game looked pretty good, including Purdy running for 56 yards and a touchdown himself, so that's got to be a great development. George Kittle continues to be an absolute monster. He caught 6 of 7 targets there for a touchdown and 128 yards. Deebo Samuel was also looking good there in the pass-catching game, so just a lot of positives there for the 49ers, who didn't turn the ball over. So yeah, really mistake-free game there from the offense. On defense, they destroyed the Dallas running game. That wasn't getting going at all. They picked Prescott off twice, so that had to feel pretty great. They didn't have a lot of good answers there for CeeDee Lamb, but with all the big name wide receivers out for Tampa Bay, I don't think that specifically has to concern us too much. So we'll see what they can do here. Obviously, got to take a look at that injury report for the 49ers. McCaffrey being back obviously is the big news. Deebo Samuel is questionable, still dealing with, his weird hip or whatever. It just seems like he's always a little bit banged up. It's an oblique/rib problem. He's questionable for this game. I do think he's probably likely to play, but I don't know if he'll be at 100%. So we'll see. He's coming off a bye week. Surely the dude's going to be okay, but we'll see. We'll see. Overall, we'll see what the 49ers can do here. Going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 4-5 on the season, coming off of that 30-24 loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a rough one, guys. You just don't want to go into overtime against the Chiefs. Maybe you should have thought about going for 2 there, but regardless, a rough one. And Baker Mayfield doing everything he can out there. It's been a tough season for the Bucs. They dealt with a lot of injuries, and they're dealing with a lot of injuries here. We'll look at that injury report in just a second, but Baker had a good game against the Chiefs. The running game looked okay, not amazing, but definitely it could use a little bit more action. I think they'll be trying to run the ball here against the 49ers. Not sure how well that will go, though. In terms of the receiving numbers, obviously Cade Otton really the main option that's still left. Not a lot of great options left there for Baker. On defense, the Buccaneers are bad, guys. They're just not a good defensive team. No way around that. They couldn't even slow down Mahomes. They couldn't slow down the running game. They couldn't generate any turnovers except for that one weird fumble by Kelsey, and they gave up 30 points in the game. So, just not a very good defense there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, we'll see what they can do. I mean, they're 28th in the NFL, giving up 27 points per game. The injury report looking kind of bleak there for the Buccaneers. Mike Evans going to be out for this one. Jalen McMillan could be out for this game as well. Obviously, we've got Chris Godwin there on the IR, and just not a lot of pass catching options left for Baker right now. On defense, they could be missing 2 guys there in the secondary, so that's a major concern also. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, you see the Buccaneers are getting 6.5 points. We got an over-under of 50.5 in this game. San Francisco, they're 4-4 against the spread, 5-3 to the over. Tampa Bay, 5-4 against the spread, and 7-2 to the over. So if you wanted to take a look at over 50.5, guys, I guess you could, but that seems a little bit sketchy to me. I'm going to be more leaning towards probably taking the under 50.5, but neither one of those plays are ending up in the pinned comment. I do have a pick on this game against the spread, but I can't give that one away here. It's posted over at Stump the Spread. Next up, guys, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road to take on the Washington Commanders. The Steelers come into this game 6-2 on the season. They've won 3 in a row, but beating the Raiders, the Jets, and the Giants isn't really going to get me too jazzed up, but it's looking like what felt like it could have been a disaster there, switching starting quarterbacks over to Russell Wilson is going to work out in that 26-18 win over the Giants. I'm not going to say it was the prettiest game ever, but Pittsburgh scored in every quarter. They did a great job against Daniel Jones, limiting him to 0 touchdown passes, sacking him 4 times, and grabbing that 1 interception. Defense remains the primary strength here of this Steelers team, but on offense, Russell Wilson looked good, completed 20 of 28 passes for 278 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 4 times and, still isn't going to run the ball apparently, so that's not great, but Najee Harris looked amazing there in the running game. 114 yards on 19 carries. Jalen Warren, 46 yards on his 9 carries. This could be more of a 2-headed monster. They could balance these more. Both of these guys are excellent running backs, and the Steelers run blocking is looking very, very good. Pickens had a good game. He caught 4 out of his 5 targets for 74 yards, so that's nice. Russell Wilson did fumble the ball away once. Something to be wary of there if you are a Steelers fan, but we'll see what he can do here, going up against a much better Washington Commanders team. Like I said, the defense was very good for the Steelers. They did struggle against the run, which is something of concern here going up against the Commanders, so we'll see what happens out there, but generally speaking, the Steelers defense has not been terrible, guys. They've been a pretty solid defensive team. They're second in the NFL, giving up 14.9 points per game. In terms of their injury report, guys, the Steelers come into this game looking pretty darn healthy. Obviously, they've lost some guys on the defense over the course of the season, but right now, things are looking, pretty solid as they go on the road to take on the Washington Commanders, who are 7-2 this season. They're coming off 3 straight wins of their own. Once again, not against great competition. They're beating Carolina, Chicago, and the Giants. Not really something to write home about. In that win against Chicago was an absolute miracle. So we'll see what they can do in this one. Their last game being against the Giants, guys. Not a great look, honestly. I mean, they got outscored 12-3 there in the fourth quarter to make things much more interesting. But Daniels, 2 touchdown passes, didn't do a ton of running, so that's kind of a nice development to see. He didn't get picked off, didn't get sacked. We saw good stuff there in the running game from Rodriguez Jr. and Eckler, so that's all positive. No crazy stuff there in the passing game for Washington, but they'll definitely take take it. It's good to see that they can win a game where they don't put up a ton of points. On defense, they struggled a little bit against Daniel Jones. They struggled against the New York rushing attack, so that's not a great look. They only generated 1 turnover in the game, and obviously that's nice, but yeah, just not a dominant day from a Commanders defense that really isn't a great one, guys. They're 11th in the NFL, allowing 21 points per game, but when you look at their strength of schedule and the teams they've had great days against, it kind of loses a little bit of its shine. So we'll see what they can do here in terms of, the Washington injury report, guys. They come into this game, they're going to be missing Brian Robinson Jr., so that's definitely not helpful there in the running game. They could be missing 1 offensive lineman. Willie is listed as questionable there at right tackle, and Marshawn Lattimore is not going to be playing in this game after being acquired there from the Saints. So not quite a full strength Commanders team for this game. Once again, guys, we're going to be concentrating on the over-under for this one. The Steelers, they're 4-4 to the over-under. Washington is 6-3 to the over this season, and with an over-under out there of 45, guys, I'm going to be leaning here just a little bit towards the over. I mean, the Commanders seem like a team that's going to put up some points. I haven't been as impressed with the Steelers defense recently, and yeah, I do think, the Steelers offense is looking pretty good out there as well. Both teams do like to run the ball. That's a little bit of a concern, but I think getting over 45 points in this one is going to happen the vast majority of the time. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Minnesota Vikings. They're going on the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Vikings come into this game fresh off of a much-needed 21-13 win there over the Colts. It seems like they kind of got their heads back on straight after, a tough loss there against the Lions. Then nobody wins the week after they play the Lions, so losing 30-20 against the Rams. But yeah, a nice 21-13 win there over the Colts. Not their best game, obviously, but definitely not a disaster, and coming away with the win there has to feel good. Sam Darnold did get picked off twice. He did have 3 passing touchdowns, so he kind of accounted for all 3 of their touchdowns in that game. But yeah, those couple of interceptions, definitely concerning. He was sacked 4 times, so there's rumors swirling that maybe the book is out now on Sam Darnold. I don't know if we really need to worry about that too much, but we'll see how things go. Aaron Jones looked okay, but not great in the running game. Only 64 yards on his 21 carries, but Cam Akers was having a good day, 46 yards on his 6 carries. And generally speaking, Minnesota, just a team that's going to be able to run the ball pretty much regardless. Justin Jefferson, this guy, I don't even know. Insane stuff. 7 receptions on 9 targets for 137 yards last week. Bro is quarterback proof. I was worried about him having a good season this year. Didn't seem like I needed to be too worried. So a decent day there from the Vikings offense, although only 21 points. The defense was great, though. They really shut down Joe Flacco. They limited Jonathan Taylor in a significant way. They had 3 sacks and an interception. They generated 2 total turnovers. So yeah, just very, very good stuff out there for the Vikings defense. So they'll be hoping to have another good game here, as they go up against the Jaguars. In terms of their injury report, the Vikings come into this game looking pretty healthy there on offense, so that's got to feel good. They have 2 linebackers questionable for this game, so that's definitely something you want to be taking a look at. Although you're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, it might not be the biggest deal, guys. The Jaguars come into this game losers of the last 2 in a row. They did manage to make things relatively close there against the Eagles, but yeah, at 2-7 on the season, not a whole lot left to play for. We're getting reports that Trevor Lawrence is trending towards not playing in this game, so that's obviously a huge deal, and he looked terrible against the Eagles anyway, guys. Picked off twice, no touchdown passes, only 169 yards through the air. He was sacked a couple of times. The running game didn't look good either. It was honestly just mistakes by the Eagles that let Jacksonville back in this game, because the Jaguars defense wasn't very good in that game either. Really, guys, I just don't have very many positive things to say about the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. I mean, over the course of the season, they've been a big disappointment. They're 17th in passing yards in the NFL. They're 18th in points for, and they are 30th in the NFL, giving up 28 points per game. They're just not a very good team, and now they're going to be without their starting quarterback, which, I mean, with how bad Trevor Lawrence has been, maybe that's not a big deal. Brian Thomas Jr. is questionable. Gabe Davis is questionable. Like, the wide receiver group devastated here. Ezra Cleveland going to be out there on the offensive line. We could be seeing Mac Jones under center for this game. On defense, they're healthy, but they haven't been a good defense at all. So just not a lot of great things to say about the Jaguars, who are getting 6.5 points in this game. We've got an over-under of 43. Minnesota 6-2 against the spread this season, 5-3 to the under. Jacksonville 5-4 against the spread, and 6-3 to the over. Guys, I am looking at the over in this game. I think over 43 is pretty reasonable, even if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play in this game. I think Jacksonville is going to find a way to put up a few points, and I think Minnesota could probably put up a lot of points. So either way, I think we want to be looking slightly towards the over in this spot. Is this going to end up in the pinned comment? I would say probably not, but we'll just have to wait and see. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the Tennessee Titans going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Titans come into this game 2-6 on the season. They're coming off of a win, though, a 20-17 overtime win against the New England Patriots, guys. So not exactly a premium level win. All kinds of weird stuff going on with the Titans quarterback situation. We saw Mason Rudolph last week. It's being reported we could see Will Levis back for this week. So obviously that, makes a difference, I guess, although I don't know how big of a difference it really makes. They did look good in the passing game last week. 240 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, but picked off once. Pollard was the real engine that made this offense work, guys. He had 128 yards on 28 carries there on the ground. Calvin Ridley actually had a nice day catching the ball, so that's a positive development, but really rough days here for the Titans. On defense, they did a good job stopping the run aside from Drake May running the ball. They did have a couple of interceptions. They generated 4 sacks, and a 3 turnover game is not bad for a defense, but the Titans haven't exactly faced the toughest schedule, and they're just, I don't know. This is just not an amazing defense, really. They've put up some okay numbers, but they're down to 27th in the NFL now, giving up 26.6 points per game. And a lot of that came from giving up 52 points against the Lions. They gave up 34 against Buffalo. Maybe this is just a defense that's better against some bad opponents. So we'll see what they can do in this one as they go up against the Chargers. The injury report looks like Levis is going to start for this game. They're going to be missing at least one guy there in the secondary. So we'll see how big of a difference that makes here against the Chargers, who come into this game 5-3 on the season. They've won back-to-back games, but taking down the Saints and the Browns maybe doesn't get me too hyped up for them, but it's a positive trend here. They're in second place there in the AFC West. We'll see what they can do. In that game against Cleveland, a nice 27-10 win. They really took care of business in that game. Herbert had another very good game, almost 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was sacked 6 times. This poor dude's going to end up with PTSD after his NFL career is over, I swear to God. J.K. Dobbins had a good day running the ball, 2 rushing touchdowns for him and 85 yards. Quentin Johnston went nuts there in the passing game, guys. Caught 4 out of his 5 targets for 118 yards and a touchdown. And on defense, the Chargers continue to look elite. We saw Jameis Winston turn back into a pumpkin, guys. He was picked off 3 times, sacked 6 times in the loss. And turns out Jameis Winston, not an amazing quarterback. Who could have known? But overall, just a great day there from the Chargers defense. It's been very, very good this season in general. One of the more solid defensive units out there. They're first in the NFL, giving up only 12.6 points per game. That's crazy, crazy work there. So good stuff there from the Chargers in terms of their injury report, guys. They're pretty healthy coming into this game. We do see Trey Pipkins, the third, questionable there on the offensive line. We've got a few guys here questionable for the defense, but this defense has been able to absorb these absences and stuff like that. Joey Bosa is questionable for this game as well. The dude's not on the injury report, guys. Dealing with a hip issue, but I think there's a chance we'll see him play in this game. Hard to know. So looking at the numbers for this one, the Chargers are minus 7.5. We've got an over-under of 39 out there. Tennessee 1-7 against the spread, 4-3-1 to the over. The Chargers 5-3 against the spread, and they are 7-1 to the under. That is an NFL best number to the under. So first up, guys, I like the Chargers here at minus 7.5, a good amount. I think we're going to see them dominate this game defensively. I think they could end up winning this game something like 20-0. I don't think that would be that crazy at all. Really don't like the Titans offense under Levis. I honestly think they're probably better off going with Mason Rudolph, but maybe they want to see what they have in Levis. Although, how do they not already know? So definitely give me the Chargers here at minus 7.5. And you could also interest me there in under 39. I think that play is very live as well. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 6-2 on the season, going on the road to take on the struggling Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles come into this game, winners of their last 4 in a row, wins over Cleveland, the Giants, the Bengals, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good work there, although that win against the Jaguars did get really sketchy there at the end. There's some positives to take from this game for the Eagles for sure. Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdown passes, sacked 3 times, so that's not great, but 0 interceptions, that's a big deal. We saw Saquon Barkley. This dude, I can't say enough about Saquon Barkley. Absolute monster. 27 carries, 159 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts also ran for a touchdown and 67 yards himself. The problem for the Eagles in this game was their defense, guys. They somehow managed to let the Jaguars back into this game and make it kind of close there at the end, which, just not what you want to see. The defense did have converted 3 turnovers, so that's pretty nice, but just not, I don't know, man. This Eagles team just finds ways to let teams back in games, but yeah, I mean, over the course of the season, their defense, ninth in the NFL, allowing 19.4 points per game. So that's not terrible. In terms of their injury report, things are looking great there for the offense. Honestly, looking very, very good there for the defense. So the Eagles definitely healthy, headed into this game to take on their rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, who are straight up not having a good time right now. The Cowboys are going to be putting Dak there on the IR. Apparently, that hamstring deal is real bad. We've got some stuff pulling away from the bone, and yeah, not gonna get too much more graphic than that, but it is not good. The Cowboys have had a rough schedule over their last 3 games, losing last week at Atlanta. Now they get to play at home, but they're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see what they can do here. Against Atlanta last week, Cooper Rush actually came in and did some positive things, so we'll give him some credit there, but only 13 of 25. That completion percentage, gonna need some work. He wasn't sacked, though. He did throw for a touchdown, so got to give the dude some credit. The running game looked okay there for Dallas, better than I would have expected to see it look. CD Lamb didn't have the most amazing game. Jake Ferguson did some positive things, though. The defense really didn't have a good job, a good time. They couldn't do anything against Kirk Cousins. Couldn't really slow down the Atlanta rushing attack either. They did generate 1 turnover, so I guess that's really your only positive. But it's not like the Cowboys have been an amazing defense over the course of the season. They haven't been at full strength either, so give them a little bit of slack, but allowing 28.1 points per game, that is 31st in the NFL. They are optimistic that Micah Parsons could be back for this game, so that would help things out a decent amount, but yeah, guys, I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned here. The defense is very banged up still. I mean, Parsons is only questionable with this game. We see Bland, he's going to be out there, so the linebacker group going to be far from full strength there. I mean, Kendricks could miss this game as well, and Trayvon Diggs is questionable there in the secondary, so really not loving this spot for the Dallas Cowboys. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, the Cowboys are getting 7.5 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 43.5. The Eagles 4-4 against the spread, 4-4 to the over-under. Dallas only 2-6 against the spread this season. They are 5-3 to the over. I know the Eagles tried to blow it last week against the Jaguars, and they let teams back into games. And I know there's optimism in Dallas around the Cooper Rush situation, but I don't like this at all, guys. Give me the Eagles here. I think they're going to blow out their rivals in this game. I love the Eagles here, minus 7.5. This one's definitely going in the pinned comment. This is probably going to end up being my favorite play here of the day in terms of, like against the spread spots that I'm giving out in this video. So definitely give me the Eagles here, minus 7.5. I think this is going to be a blowout win for them. If you're interested in this over-under of 43.5, I would maybe side slightly towards the over 43.5. Not a huge number, but it's not an over-under spot that I love. Definitely just give me the Eagles. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the New York Jets. They're going on the road to take on the Arizona Cardinals. The Jets come into this game 3-6 on the season, fresh off of their first win in quite some time. That win over the Houston Texans on Thursday Night Football snapped a 5-game losing streak there, including a loss to the Patriots. The Jets, guys, the whole Aaron Rodgers experiment, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of withholding judgment, but things have not gone great. Rodgers only completed 22 of 32 passes against the Texans. He did have 3 passing touchdowns. He was sacked a couple times. He did, I guess what he's supposed to do. Breece Hall had a great day running the ball, 15 carries for 74 yards there. Devontae Adams came alive. He caught 7 of his 11 targets for 91 yards and a touchdown. Garrett Wilson continues to put up great numbers. He caught 2 passing touchdowns in that game and caught 9 out of 10 targets. So it seems like Rodgers is, getting some comfortability here with his 2 best receivers. But yeah, guys, I don't know. We'll see what they can do. They were going up against a banged up Texans defense that isn't even very good. So we'll see how things go. On defense, the Jets had a great game, giving up only 13 points to a Texans team that basically had no wide receivers for this game. So yeah, this was supposed to be one of the most loaded wide receiver teams in the NFL. Injuries can't do that to you there for the Texans. Also, the Jets could not stop the running attack there. Joe Mixon had 106 yards and a touchdown there on the ground. So definitely question marks for me about this Jets defense that, was supposed to be so dominant, guys. They come into this game 10th in the NFL, giving up 20.3 points per game. So we'll see what the Jets can do out there on both sides of the ball. On offense, the offensive line's looking pretty banged up, guys. We've got 2 guys questionable. We don't have a lot of clarity on whether or not they're going to be able to play in this game, but definitely something to be monitoring there. And Conklin is also questionable there at tight end. In terms of the defense, Mosley going to be out for this game, so the linebacker group going to be not at full strength, and Michael Carter II is questionable there in the secondary. So we'll see if he ends up playing in this game. He was a full participant in Friday's practice, so seems likely that he will suit up. Although will he be at 100%? We'll have to see. They might need him here going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who have now won 3 in a row, wins over the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Chicago Bears. Not the most amazing wins, but they'll definitely take them, guys. They're currently sitting in the top spot there in the NFC West, so that's got to feel pretty good. Cardinals didn't get a great game there from Kyler Murray. He passed for 154 yards. He was sacked 3 times. No touchdowns, but no interceptions. He did, not do a whole lot lot of running the ball either, but James Conner had a huge game on the ground, 107 yards on 18 carries, and just in general, guys, the running game was online there for Arizona. 34 carries combined as a team, 213 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. So great stuff there. Loved what we saw from Arizona on the ground. And against the Jets, that could be a big deal. They're coming off a game where they struggled against the running attack. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously not a ton of huge numbers there for the Arizona receiving core, but they've shown us this season that they can put up big numbers. So we'll see what they do in this game. On defense, guys, they looked great against Caleb Williams, honestly, limiting the passing game a lot. They had 6 sacks there. They didn't give up too much to the run either. They didn't generate any turnovers, so that's not great. And it's not like the Cardinals' defense has been amazing this season. They're 19th in the NFL, giving up 23.8 points per game. So we'll see what they can do here against the Jets, who haven't been an amazing offense, although last week they looked much better. The Cardinals are very healthy on offense coming into this game, so that's got to feel great. We do have Jalen Thompson questionable there in the secondary on defense, so that's something to monitor a little bit. He's dealing with an ankle issue, and we don't have a lot of clarity on whether or not he's going to play in this game. So I'd say there's a chance, but it's definitely not a lock that he plays. In terms of the numbers for this game, the Cardinals are getting 1.5 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 46.5. The Jets, they are 3-6 against the spread this season, 4-1 to the over-under. Arizona, they are 6-3 against the spread this year. They are 4-1 to the over-under as well. In terms of that over-under of 46.5, guys, I would maybe lean just a little bit towards the under, but I don't have a big lean on that. I do like the Cardinals here at +1.5 playing at home. I think the Jets are getting way too much respect for one win over a very banged up Houston team on a short week. So definitely give me the Cardinals in this spot. I think we see Aaron Rodgers and the Jets come back to earth a little bit in this spot. Last but not least, guys, we have the Detroit Lions going on the road to take on the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. The Lions come into this game, guys, continuing to look like one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the actual best. They're 7-1 on the season. They got a 24-14 win there at Green Bay. So answering some questions about whether or not they'll be able to travel, whether they'll be able to play well outside. They did have a pick 6 in that game, so without that, things could have looked a lot more competitive, but gotta give the Lions some credit there. I mean, Jared Goff, 145 passing yards, that's not great. 1 passing touchdown, but he was only sacked once, and the running game was fully online there. Montgomery and Gibbs combined for 28 carries and 138 yards. 1 rushing touchdown there. Very, very good stuff. The Lions did not turn the ball over in the game. Amon-Ra St. Brown caught all 7 of his targets for 56 yards and a touchdown. This is just a team that knows how to win football games, guys. They looked great out there on offense, doing exactly what they needed to do and avoiding mistakes. On defense, they had that pick 6. That was great. They didn't sack Jordan Love at all, so that's a little bit concerning, and they gave up 95 yards to Josh Jacobs on only 13 carries. So some things to clean up there on defense, but really, guys, just a very good game there from the Lions, going on the road and getting a tough win. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road again, taking on the Houston Texans, who are 6-3 on the season. They are coming off that tough loss there on the short week against the Jets, so they've got a long week for this one. They did not look good against the Jets there. Not going to dive super deep into that game. Obviously, we did see, not a lot of Houston wide receivers left for that one. CJ Stroud didn't have a whole lot of good options and got sacked 8 times, so that's a big concern. Joe Mixon continues to do great out there. He's been probably the best offensive player over the course of the season for this team. Tank Dell had a big game catching the ball, so we'll see if the Texans can recapture some of that success. The big news here in terms of their offense is whether or not Nico Collins is going to play in this game. He's back at practice, but he is questionable. It sounds iffy, very iffy whether or not he's going to play in this game. Tank Dell is also questionable, so we could end up with a very limited wide receiver group. Obviously, the Texans defense did not have a good time last week, against Rodgers and company, so that was a bit rough, and they're banged up for this one as well. They're going to be missing at least 1 guy off of their defensive line, maybe 2. They could be missing Jake Hansen there at linebacker, but in general, they're looking healthy there in the secondary, so we'll see if they can have a little bit better of a performance, but this hasn't been an amazing defense over the course of the season. 14th, allowing 22.2 points per game. The Texans are getting 3.5 points in this one, playing at home. We've got an over-under of 49 out there. Detroit, 7-1 against the spread, 4-4 to the over-under. Houston, 3-5-1 against the spread, and 7-2 to the under. Guys, I like the under in this game a good amount. I'll take under 49 here. Unfortunately, we do have a premium pick on this game over at Stump the Spread, so I can't give that one away, but I do think under in this game has some decent value. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.